Herman Cain. Cain is a Whig Now talk radio host and Fox News commentator who was angling to become the Republican presidential candidate in the 2012 elections, or sell a lot of books trying. He also was CEO of Godfather's Pizza, ran Burger King franchises and was a gospel singer. In the fall of 2011, Cain enjoyed a surge in polls, as Rick Perry faltered. By November 2011, Cain was tied in a top 3 race with Mitt Romney and Newt Gingrich. However, as of December 3, 2011, Herman Cain suspended his presidential campaign amidst allegations of sexual misconduct. So yes, he probably won't get the nomination. Maybe he'll use a master ball next time, and level up his pet Pikachu. He endorsed Newt Gingrich. Unlike most talk radio hosts, Cain is not an all-talk and no-action man. He has had an extensive career in corporate management. Starting as a regional manager for Burger King, he turned his 400-restaurant region into a profit center and was consequently appointed the CEO of Godfather's Pizza, which at the time was under the same ownership as Burger King. Later, he purchased the Godfather's Pizza chain, continuing to run it for 8 years until he left to lead a business association of restaurateurs. He sat on the board of Aquila, an energy company that engaged in energy and commodities speculation using its employees' pensions while running itself into the ground in Enron. Cain and other Aquila executives settled out of court for $10.5 million. Unlike many career politicians, Cain is not old money. He grew up in a working-class home and does in fact know what it's like to do a full day's work for a full day's pay. Cain has a bachelor's in math from Morehouse and a master's in computer science from Purdue. Yes, really. He entered the political scene in 1993 by using FUD tactics against Bill Clinton's healthcare reform plan, stating that the insurance mandate would put small employers out of business. As he did not have any experience operating a small business, one wonders how he was more qualified than anyone else to make that statement. Like his fellow small government advocate, Ron Paul, he believes in the restoration of the gold standard. However, his electoral chances with the gold standard people might be damaged by his former association with the Federal Reserve. Most recently, he has been making the rounds at Tea Party get-togethers and wowing the tobaggers with chatter about the singular greatness of America. His platform includes lowering taxes and taking the capital gains tax to zero. He has an unclear opinion on abortion, saying he is anti-government and pro-life at the same time. He is largely without a foreign policy in mind, but said he opposed the war in Libya and will consult the experts on other issues. His platform includes lowering taxes and taking the capital gains tax to zero. He had little name recognition among Republicans, though nowhere near as much as Mitt Romney or Rick Perry. However, when Perry faltered, Cain became more popular and had a surge in the polls until the infamous scandals came out. Some did not like him because he has never held elected office. Some did see this as a positive though, and that he is a businessman and not a career politician who just makes promises to get elected. In a July 2011 poll, only 48% of Republicans and Republican-leaning independents recognized Cain. This changed, and Cain gained significant nationwide recognition. The 46% of Americans who do not presently pay income tax would suddenly be charged a 9% tax on all their income. Furthermore, eliminating the capital gains tax and taxing wage income as opposed to investment income would cause working Americans to feel a much larger tax bite than the wealthy, who often earn more money through investments than through salary. The plan would also end the payroll tax, which is used to fund programs like Medicare and Social Security. The sales tax element, if it is even constitutional, the federal government technically only has the power to regulate interstate commerce, also amounts to an increase, as there is currently no federal sales tax. In other words, state sales taxes, the tax paid today, would still exist on top of the 9% sales tax. The final 9 would drop the current 35% corporate income tax to 9%. You want to know how bad this idea is? Rick Perry thinks it's a bad idea. 11. The man who made cuts to the fire department as wildfires ravaged Texas thinks this is a bad idea. You want to know where he got the idea? SimCity. Cain initially stated he would not appoint a Muslim to his cabinet, in fear of terrorism. He later retracted this claim and said he would appoint Muslims who would pledge to support the U.S. Constitution. He also opposed the building of a mosque because there was objection to it and called that the mosque not be built because of the separation of church and state. Cain claims this being a devout Christian and former gospel singer. Despite thinking that separation of church and state prohibits the building of a mosque, he claims that the U.S. is a Christian nation under God. Cain was ridiculed over his statement that bills should only be 3 pages on The Daily Show, where Jon Stewart said that treaties will have to fit on the back of a cereal box, and the State of the Union will have to be delivered in the form of a fortune cookie. Both Cain and Stewart were invited on Fox's The O'Reilly Factor on separate segments when Juan Williams was guest hosting. Cain said that Stewart was being racist by using an Amos and single quote and the accent. Bernie Goldberg also appeared on another segment and sarcastically said that liberals who criticize Cain or any other African-American conservative should be called racist. This was Stewart's response. Politico reported on Halloween 2011 that 2 women complained of Cain's sexually aggressive behavior, and later agreed to a settlement. Herman Cain has at times denied the charges, and at other times acknowledged them, but mostly recently has blamed Rick Perry for releasing them to the media. Cain believed that these charges would not affect his campaign, but they inevitably did. In December 2011 he announced a suspension of his campaign. This suspension is widely expected to last until the middle of 2012 at least. It was a topping campaign, but in the end he just couldn't deliver. Cain seems not to have a consistent position on abortion. On the one hand, he says government should not be involved, yet he identifies as completely pro-life. Cain is completely ignorant about foreign policy. He boasted that he had no idea who the president of Uzbekistan is, a position on which the president of Afghanistan commented when talking with Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Cain introduced a plan called the 9-9-9 plan, so named because it would do away with the current tax code and replace it with a 9% personal income tax, a 9% business tax and a 9% national sales tax. This flat tax plan would shift the burden of taxes to those least able to pay it, in a fashion that would make the current moderately progressive tax code seem like a very good deal.